to be doing the job of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. He was supposed to be one of them. And the Ramchal says Esav was an Av, a patriarch.
Wow.
That's right. These are the Avot. Why should he be nothing less, something less? But what happened with Esav? Everyone has free choice and free will. So he's a patriarch that went sour. You know, he chose to not be part of the Jewish nation. So now we have to understand something. And this week we're in Parashat Toledot, so we'll quote a little Pesukim from that. It says here that Yaakov says when he was taking the birthright from Esav, and he said, sell me your birthright. So he told him like this, Vayomer Yaakov, Mechra kayom et bechorat echali. Sell me as this day your birthright to me. So what does that mean? It says, sell me as this day. Mechra kayom. What do you mean kayom? We know it's today. You don't have to say sell me today. But it's a strange little word. Like, what is that coming to say over here? So the truth is that word is saying a lot. So let's understand what's going on with that word, and we're going to understand a lot of what's happening with Esav. Okay, we know a rule that when we sin, we cause some kind of a damage to happen in heaven, in Shamayim, and then that boomerangs back and hits us somewhere down here. That's why we say when you sin, you're disrupting your mazal, you're making bad luck, whatever it is. But what's the mechanics? The mechanics is you're sending some message up there, and then it's coming right back down on you. Now, we're little souls, there's billions of people in the world. I mean, Jews, okay, whatever, but in Esav's time, there's only 4 people. Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, and Esav, who were the Jewish family. And they were the ones really connected to the areas in Shamayim. That's the difference of a Jew and a Goy. The Goy is not connected to Shamayim. He could do sins, and he only disrupts his own connection. He doesn't disrupt the actual worlds up there. You see? He's disconnected. Jews disrupt if they sin, and they make things right, tikkun, if they do mitzvot. Now here's Esav. He's an Av, a patriarch, and he's sinning. He's doing all kinds of things. So where is that? Where do you see down in the earth his sins coming back? What happened? There must be catastrophes. That if Esav is sinning, what's going wrong down in earth? Everything's not just great. There must be things going wrong. So Yaakov was trying to notice that. You want to say something?
Let me ask you something when you have a moment.
Yeah, you could say now.
Aside from then, thank you, on what basis you say this about Jews and non-Jews having that's a pretty profound statement.
Oh no, this is all sourced in,
Secondly, sourced in what?
In Arizal and Ramchal and even other books.
How do they know?
Well, based on their reputation, we know that they know because of who they are and their holiness and how they knew other things. So once they're put down as they know, now you believe everything that they say.
You're looking at the wrong person.
No, okay, so we have to get to that.
It's a pretty presumptuous thing to say, but in any case, since Cain was a Jew, are you saying Cain was a Jew?
Okay, that's a good question. That's actually has to be, it's going to take more time. So let me answer it and spend a few moments on that because it's actually part of this whole thing. Okay, who was Jew and who was not Jew? So really, the idea, the word Jew comes from the word Ivri. Ivri, we say Abraham ha-Ivri. Abraham the Ivri, because he came from, me'ever of the water, or because his ancestor was Ever. Whatever different reasons they have. But that's a national name, Ivri, Hebrew. What's the real name of Abraham? He's really, and of course it got to Yaakov, Yisrael. This word Yisrael, Israel, is an entity who is connected to Shamayim. That's what this word Yisrael means. If a person is a Yisrael, he's connected to Shamayim. Now in the beginning, all mankind was really part of this idea. Everyone was connected to Shamayim. So they weren't Jews, because that's a national name, but they were part of being Yisrael in that sense. In fact, that's why it says Beresheit, bara Elokim et hashamayim v'et haaretz. We say Bishvil Reshit, for Reshit, which is Yisrael, Hashem made the world. So who's the Yisrael? We only get Yisrael 2,000 years later. But no, they started in day one. Yisrael started in day one with creation. It's all the people.
Beresheit is Lashon Yisrael.
Yeah, Beresheit refers to Yisrael.
Why it's the same letters? Just scrambled up.
Not really, but there's a pasuk that says Beresheit is Yisrael.
Where does this come from?
Rashi brings it down and from Midrash Rabbah.
When you say all the people, you mean just out of Chava.
No, all mankind was connected to
But
Shamayim.
all
Let's put that.
mankind at that time was just Adam and Chava until they
Oh, that's right. I'm going until Avraham Avinu. All those people for 2,000 years were connected people.
So even after the sin of Adam and Chava, you're saying like the people of the Mabul, the
That's
people
right.
of the Tower of Babel, they were still connected to Shemayim?
That's right. There's no such thing as a person who's here not connected. What are you doing here then? The whole idea is Hashem brought people to make the world be something, so you have to be connected to do something. There's no extra people. Only after it became extra when Hashem picked Abraham and he said, I'm going to pick you now because everyone else is not doing the job, so we're going to unplug everyone else and you're going to stay plugged. So in many ways, it's not that Abraham, of course, through Yaakov, it's not that Abraham became Yisrael, it's that everyone else was thrown out of Yisrael. He simply kept what he always had. You see? And that's why it says from V'nivrechu becha kol mishpachot ha'adama. In him everyone will be blessed. Because now in you, you're going to bring the world to its proper place. And everyone will be there to clap. That they're there also because you did it. Like he's the captain of the ship. He's going to bring the ship in. And all the passengers will thank him after. But they're no more at the steering wheel. Only Abraham and his family is now at the steering wheel. Because they would have done too much damage, everyone else. Hashem was really saving the place. Because free will could destroy everything. So we're getting to Esav. Let me get back to this now. Where do we see the wickedness of Esav come back down here? Where do we see it with the people of the flood? The flood. How do we know they were connected? Because look what they brought onto themselves. Even though it's a punishment, it means that's what was caused by their actions. Where's Esav's wickedness? What happened? Where is it? Yaakov understood. You know what he saw? He said, because of today, sell me your birthright. He saw something happen today, and he was flipping out, Yaakov. He couldn't believe it. He said, because of today, now we're going to make this deal. I've got to deal with you now. I've got to unplug you now before the rest of this place gets destroyed. What did he see? Something happened today. What happened today?
He did some major sins. He did murder.
No, that's right. He did those sins, right? The 3 cardinal sins. That's true. But those are the sins. Where did he see the repercussions that day?
Abraham passed away.
Very good. You heard that? Abraham Avinu passed away that day. So what does that have to do with anything?
Wow.
So you know what it has to do? A very interesting midrash that says, see, sometimes a midrash is again, painted in a light where you miss it. But that's how the Chachamim did it. They want to hide things and just put it in there. Exactly. So look what this midrash says. Hashem tells Abraham Avinu, he says, Tikaver b'seiva tova, you will die a ripe, nice old age. So the midrash says, Hashem told him, or he decided, he's going to take him 5 years before his time, because this way he won't see Esav doing his wickedness. You see? So good. He won't see his grandchildren sinning, he'll die a nice old age, everything's nice. He doesn't see anyone doing bad, so it looks like Hashem is doing him a great big favor. But what we see under the scenes of this statement is, indirectly, Esav's wickedness boomeranged back and took Abraham Avinu out 5 years before his time. That was devastating. Yaakov understood what that meant. You don't take Abraham Avinu 5 years from his date to go. Now, you know what that means? You know what kind of tikkunim Abraham Avinu could have done for 5 years? We're talking about Abraham Avinu now. Someone at that level of an Av, like Abraham Avinu, whatever he does every moment, rectifies this place that we're trying to rectify. Which means he would have done a lot more. 5 years of his doing mitzvot, who knows, it could have taken 500 years out of our galut, out of our exile. That's major, to lose 5 years of his life. We just look at it, okay, he died 5 years, Hashem's being nice to him. We have to look more into it. So that's what Yaakov saw. He said, Michra kayom et bechoratecha li. Because of what I see today, that Abraham Avinu died, and he put it together that it was because of him. Hashem is just saying, like sugarcoating it. So you don't have to see Esau's wickedness, I'll take you 5 years before. But it means because of that, he took him 5 years before. Esau's wickedness really caused that. Now someone on the level of an Av can do something like that, like Esau. You know, he was a very big soul, Esau, because he was part of the patriarchs. So he can do something like that. You know, if a little, John Doe like us does a little sin, we don't have the power in us to do something like that. We can't take an Abraham Avinu out 5 years because even if we sin our whole lifetimes. But that's because, we're all little, smaller souls. But when we're talking about the time of the Avot, they had major souls and they were connected to major areas of creation. So Esav, if he would have kept on sinning and still been in the Jewish family, he could have wiped out a third of the universe. And Yaakov saw that. He said, I better unplug this guy now before we keep destroying. And he basically, by selling the birthright, he turned him into a goy. And he didn't have the connection to heaven anymore. So now his actions does not disturb anything above. You see? He was saving the planet. Yaakov Avinu was saving the planet. This was urgent. And he had to do it. You see what's going on over here? So now we have a dilemma now. Let's follow the plot what we were saying. You have the two jobs. You have Mashiach ben Yosef, Mashiach ben David. Of course, we didn't get to those names yet, but whatever those are, the Tahara and the Kiddusha jobs. So you had, Esav was supposed to be on the Yosef side, which is to destroy evil. Okay? And Yaakov was on the side of, like Hevel, to bring good and bring the Kiddusha and bring the world back to, to that state. Again, from ice to water and then water to steam, so to speak. So you have Esav is not there now. So what's going to happen to this other job? Someone has to do it. It's a real job. It's not just you're alive, you do mitzvot, we hear that Hashem has plans here. There's 2 slots and you need 2 men for them. So when Esav sold his slot, so to speak, to Yaakov, it meant he gave it to him. Yaakov has to do 2 things now. That's what it is. Yaakov has to do his job and now take over Esav's job. Now what did we say Cain and Hevel? Cain was the Oved Adama. He worked the land, which meant he worked the Yetzer Hara. His job was like Yitzchak again, Yitzchak Avinu, to work the Yetzer Hara, the side of Gevurah. While Hevel was the side of Yaakov, the side of David, bringing in the Kiddusha, dealing more. It's almost like, if you want to get a feel for it, it's almost like we have a Kolel man and a working man. The working man has more Tava, more, Yetzer Hara type of things to overcome. While the Kolel man, it's more maybe Ga'ava or laziness. It's a whole different setup. So those 2 areas is really these two kind of jobs that's happening. That's why Jews are really into these 2 slots, because we're really doing these 2 jobs today too. So you have the learning people and the working people. Of course, everyone's supposed to learn, but the point is the working people have a different type of a job. That's why no one job is better than the other. It's just where Hashem is wanting this job to be done, so he puts a person there. Okay, so now there's a strange question. Only with this whole theme can we get this answer. What in the world is Yaakov Avinu? He's called Yoshev Ohalim. He sits in the tents and he's the learning man. Esav is again Ish Yodet Said, again Oved Adama. He's supposed to be working the Yetzer Hara.